These objections came from Mr. Werma, the CEO. Now started open another chapter that he is mismanaging, because obviously he's the CEO, and if he's objecting that, at the end of the day, what happens? And this started bringing the chapter of people going against Mr. Werma. That was what started happening. Then there was another thing. BCL Limited, if you check from record, the scrap yard of BCL Limited gets to off at 3 o'clock because they don't have power. So keeping the SHE policy in mind, that power was, they were supposed to leave. And there were 16 people or 30 people which were deployed on BCL scrap yard, and they were being paid overtime by Human Resource Department of Pula Steel for 2 hours between 4 to 6. Now the point here is 3:30, it goes off. There is no, you cannot run the yard, it's closed. And the overtime is being paid from 3:30 to 5:30 by Human Resource Officer Florence Mokalake, further to be approved by Brian Mosinene, right? And when Mr. Werma objected that, obviously the first person he will go and say is Brian Mosinene. Then Mr. Mosinene, this is what is happening under your department. No, we will verify, we will do that. Mr. Brian, can you please give notice to Florence immediately, with immediate effect? Mr. Werma is racist, he's firing Botswana, he's doing this, he's doing that. This was, I'm just letting you know the reasons where the money has gone, where the money has been spent in Pula Steel. And I can't give you the document of this, but yes, if you take the payroll and you ask BCL or even ask now today, the BCL records will tell. If I have to challenge this, I'm not worried about it, because if somebody challenges me at court, it has to be called from the records and it will show. Nobody can refuse the court. So this is what factually happened. Over 6 months, this money was being paid. While the construction was happening, Mr. Werma was busy doing construction, and payrolls would come, which Brian had already approved. He would sign, and to make the payment, remember the plant had not started at that time, but scrap cutting process had already started. Then this is a peculiar story, and this is also under record. There is a gentleman who came to apply for a job, a SHE manager. His name was Mr. Mansi. Mr. Mansi was asked that what is the salary you will take? And Mr. Mansi in the board said whatever he said, and it was, he was probably, I think, getting 6,000-7,000 from his company was working in a Pickway. He was working in a Pickway company called PIM, and that happened. And I don't know if you have seen this. This is very peculiar. This was my first experience ever that happened only here in Pula Steel. And this experience was that our salary band said that his salary should be 13,000. And they started a debate that he's ready to accept salary of 10,000, but board is arguing here that he should be paid 13,000. I don't know where in the world this happens. Really, that the board is arguing and the CEO is saying, and the person who has to be paid salary is, he wants 10,000, but the board tell him, please, you leave us, because our salary band says we will pay him 13,000. And will you believe they paid him 13,000? That is Pula Steel. for everybody, not Mr. Verma. And Mr. Verma objected that, but he had no choice to give up to this point. I must also tell you, as CEO of Pula Steel, Mr. Verma did not have an office in Pula Steel. He was conducting his office meetings in his boardroom, which converts office later, boardroom. Office, boardroom. Because we didn't want to incur the expense. There is no way you can start up a plant if you don't do sacrifices. And here it was completely the other way. We are not BCL. I don't know why people thought that we are BCL. BCL has been running from 40 years. BCL has budgets. BCL can go to government and ask for money every time. Finally, what happened? They didn't get the money. We are not like that. I would set up a plant at least cost. While the foundations were being dug, the letter came from the engineer, because when we were digging the foundations, we hit a rock. And you can ask from your personal sources or any architecture engineer, when you hit a rock in construction, that is the strongest foundation that you can ever hit. Under crust, that means you hit the earth crust. We hit the earth crust. This is where, when Mr. Werma challenged Bajosi's knowledge, that he said, let's blast this. And then when you blast, you can't have control on blasting, whether it will blast 5 meter, 7 meter, 500 centimeters or 700 centimeters. When we were doing blasting, we hit a rock. The engineer said, put the foundations. Bajosi said, no. Before he said, we have to go to 2.5 meter. He blasted. When we blasted, it blasted to 4 meters. Now, first we spent money for blasting, then we spent money for refilling, then we erected the foundation. 3 times the money. This is where Pula Steel money went, not with Mr. Werma. This is what the board said, okay. This is what BCL board members said, okay. This is what LSE Thabo Thamane board members said, okay. And this is when Mr. Werma said, I can't say anything. I'm not even a director. I'm a CEO. I'm your employee. The way you say, thank you, sir. But I don't see this happening. This is a doomed business. You don't do work like that. This does not work like that. We had another story. I have a lot of them that you should know the facts. We bought 3 equipments from Thune Dam, Zonga. The cost of those 3 equipments second hand was going to cost Pula Steel 500 to 600,000. And the same cost one equipment to mobilize from Debswana to Pula Steel site were costed, there was a quotation, the mobilization and establishment fee was 300,000 for one equipment. Mr. Werma told his board, thanks to late Mr. Ramat Shaba, he stood by Mr. Werma in that scenario. He said, Mr. Werma, if you can start the plant by Saturday morning, day after, I will override. But I want you to sign a check and leave with me. If not, Monday morning this check will be deposited in those people's account. Fine. Money was paid to Thune Dam. Saturday, there was a guy who was running a shop, second-hand equipment. We didn't need new equipment for that. All we had to do was dig foundations. It was running by Zongan earlier in an excavator. It came in there. It started working Saturday. There was no problem. All the foundations of Pula Steel are dug by that. On the other hand, there were 2 JCBs available there for 163,000 Pula each and a front-end loader. And they did not buy those 2 JCBs. but they gave work to a guy called Abel. I don't know his full name. He bought the same JCB from the same place, and Pula Steel paid him 2 million Pula in rental charges. The guy has got a credit claim at Pula Steel. He's a creditor. It was the same JCB. We went to see that JCB. We were ready to buy that JCB. Second, we bought, after telling our board that there is a front end loader that we are buying. If you don't want to use it, don't use it. But if you want to buy, Pula Steel is the first choice. Because I was setting up a plant called Recycled Energy and Fuel. I want to clarify that it will come very soon. It's a very important part of this whole story, because there was a story on that also. So, Recycled Energy Fuel was a plant to recycle tires, not steel. So they said, there was a story done by somebody where they said that Wermas are going into another recycling contract which is against their Keyman's contract. And in Recycled Energy Fuel, my partner was Sara Mahupela. Sara Mahupela is the wife of ex-managing director of BCL Limited. And this is where the questions were raised. Exactly. Very important thing, but I will clarify. Don't worry. Nothing. That is why I said it needs answers. Excavator was bought. I put that excavator parked at Pula Steel factory site. Plant was, they didn't use that excavator. Middle of the night, 12 o'clock, construction, pouring is happening. The excavator from whom they were hiring packed up. My offer, they were hiring excavator from a third party at 728 Pula an hour. Right? My offer to Pula Steel was 500 Pula an hour, only payable for 8 hours. If even you use my excavator for 24 hours, you will only pay for 8 hours. I didn't know. I was sleeping. In the morning, I came. My excavator was at Pula Steel site, running. The other excavator went. After that day, the excavator, front end loader, stand to be corrected, front end loader. When this front end loader came, they used it after that forever. They never removed it from site. And they always paid me for 8 hours. Even if they ran the plant for 12 hours, 16 hours, construction was happening, my invoice was 8 hours. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less, because I didn't want to come and control myself. I said, put, run, dry. This is what was the fare. It was gaining Pula Steel. Definitely it was my personal gain also, but it was fully declared. It was never hidden under the table. And why I bought that? Because I wanted to set up an energy plant for tire recycling, which was for alternate fuel. And that tire recycling plant was called Recycled Energy and Fuel. Because it was involving Mahupelas. Mahupela, and it's a joint account for Mahupela. The money was transferred to us into our bank account via the joint account for Sara Mahupela. And it was paid so that it's transparent. It was declared that yes, Sara is becoming the partner. Dan declared to his board that Sara is becoming the partner with Deepak Werma and his wife to run alternate fuel plant. It had got nothing to do with BCL, it had got nothing to do, and the payment is being paid, and the payment was done by his secretary online, so that everybody is fully aware that this money has been paid like this, in transparency. And that plant we set up, unfortunately, because it created so much of problems. DIS raided, they wanted to find out, they raided my house, they took all my documents, so much so they took my kids' iPads. There are some personal pictures which they are not even allowed to go into my bedroom. The pictures are my wife delivering my kids at the hospital. And they did not, till date, I have not received my iPad and my cell phone. It's with them. What they are doing with it, it's been 2.5 years, I don't know. Number 3, I have, as I've said, I have not relocated. My kids study in Johannesburg in a school called Brassia House. My wife lives in Johannesburg. When I was paid 14 million by BCL, I invested in 2 properties in South Africa. After that, I started a company called EZ Apartments. There are people who have come and stayed there. It is right in heart of Sandton City. Today, EZ Apartments does a turnover of 2.5 million a month. 2.5 million rands a month. It is an IT business and I am an undergraduate. And I don't have a degree for IT. I don't have a degree for steel and I did not have a degree for textile. I want to let you know the diversification that I have. And the business is running as we speak. Google ezapartments.co.za. Please book your room and stay, but I will charge. Right? The rate is between 1,300 to 5,000 rands a night. I have got 32 apartments there. How many? 32, not 2 anymore. And people think that I have built a hotel. Number 2, EZ Apartments even do share chartering. If Mr. Batoeng wants to fly along with let me think.
With his darling.
Huh? Oh, with LSE. With LSE, Thakur Kamani, right? I charge 300,000 for a client to fly and I arrange charter flight. My business model is an IT-based model. I have an app, Easy Apartments on Android. My iOS app is coming into the market. I did not take a cent from Botswana after that. This is what Deepak Werma is, and I'm proud to say that. That I am a businessman, not graduate, not LSC, and I run business which employs people and successful, and I have never failed in business enterprise. Most important thing, Winston Enterprises has taken over a plant in joint venture with Ministry of Trade and Industry of Zimbabwe. This is the most strategic, economically impacting the economy of Zimbabwe. It is called Lancashire Steel. This plant was a subsidiary of Zisco Steel. Zisco Steel is the was the second largest steel producer in Africa after ISCOR. And Deepak Werma, again an undergraduate, signed a deal on 28th of July 2018 to revive that plant, and he has been told that and branded that he can't run Pula Steel is impossible. People need to know that, and this is why I called the press conference, that I am not a person who will not have interest of work and this. So I can't do anything. If you have time, you can hear. If you won't have, I have to say, but I have to tell. This is what is the challenge, unfortunately. So this is Deepak, and I'm only informing about myself because I've gone through so much into this you call humility and mess as a family, that which I'm still going to tell. In 2017, my permits expired for Deepak Werma. SIDA is a DFI. I spelled the full form, Development Finance Institution. I wanted my visa, my permit to be renewed, and I was part of judicial management team. And I went to the ministry, applied my visa, my permit was rejected. When my permit was rejected, my wife was in Johannesburg and my kids were in Johannesburg. My daughters are 8 years and 6 years old only. Now, obviously, they are 10 and 8. So this is 2 years ago that happened. I applied for my visa. I requested again. I can't get South African visa. So which means I can't go meet my wife and I can't go see my kids, right? I'm telling you what I have gone through, what is my ordeal also. I can't go. I went to one minister to the other to request this is what is happening. But the protocol say this is what has to happen. No problem. I gave the papers. My permit was rejected again. And note, I'm in this country in 2001. I think 17th of April 2001 or 18th I arrived, because 16th of April is my wife's birthday. So I arrived into this country on, so I remember the date very well, via Harare. And when after 17 years I apply my permit, when I've invested 50 million in this country and given 17 years of my life, they rejected my permit again, twice. I want to see my kids. I want to see my wife. I can't see. What is the use of this money that I'm making? For whom? For which people? I don't know. Would you leave without your kids and your husband? You? You, sir? You? Yes, sir. You?
Please continue.
Yeah.
We made your point.
Yeah.
You made your point.
Okay, thank you very much. You, sir? Will you leave? Yeah.
We like it.
Yes, sir? No. Right. That is what it is. I spent my wedding anniversary at Clockwing border. I spent my birthday at Martin's Drift border. To meet my family, I had to fly out from Joburg to Dubai. And then when I reach at the airport, I ask the people, can I meet my daughter at a metal detector? They don't even allow me to hug her.
Why can't you get South African visa?
Because my permit is expired here. And I can't leave the country. If I leave the country, I can't get into the country.
So your work permit is expired, but your residence permit is okay?
No, both of them gone. They work hand in hand. Both of them gone, they work hand in hand.
So how are you staying in the country?
Then, it was in 2017. I said it specifically for 6 months. When I went after all the documents, which people I had to collect, I collected the employees that were there, all the documents. I applied my permit again. I showed the documents to Mr. Bachu. I went and he said, your case is very genuine and it is there. They went, we will help you for that. And then I got, I think somewhere in, now I've got a 10 years residence and work permit visa in this country. Then I applied, and that is when I started moving frequently. But again, I was tagged that I have relocated myself into South Africa. That was this is the ordeal that I went through. My everything is sitting with DIS. I've been raided. My offices were closed. My Winston Enterprises is closed. In this time, I started diamond fencing equipment I brought in equipment from Turkey to run the South African raw material suppliers. They closed the supply of raw material. I went to the ministry to take it up because without I don't import I can't make diamond fence. Nothing has happened. The equipment is lying in Silvi Piqui, fully paid. Recycled energy fuel to make alternate fuel oil. Equipment is lying in Silvi Piqui, fully paid for. We are looking for jobs to be created. I have the manufacturing equipment. You people are looking investor from outside the country. Equipment is sitting in Silvi Piqui, but no way to go, no way to start. Where should I start? I have textile plant in Silvi Piqui, closed from 2013, which ran for 14 years. That's closed. I have a nail manufacturing plant in Silvi Piqui. And please note, manufacturing plant that creates jobs. This is apart from Pula Steel. It has got nothing to do with Pula Steel. This is Werma's projects. Even if I employ 10 people, which includes only gardener, security guard and a driver, then I will create on 6 plants, I will create 18 jobs monthly. And if I will live there, I will also have maids at home. So this is what I'm not even counting. I'm just letting you know. Job creation. Somebody has to be serious about job creation. Jobs are not created just like that on a platform. Why would somebody take a risk? So many people know that this is what Deepak is going through in Botswana. Why would they come and invest in this country? Not that they don't know. They know me. They know people. They all know me. They know about myself. Now further, I've given you 3 points already about Pula Steel debacle on construction site already. If you've got more you can note, then you can ask me at that time. Then came the company went into, I'm fast forwarding it went into judicial management. Now before it was supposed to go to judicial management, at that time BCL had already liquidated, into provisional liquidation. BCL was already into provisional liquidation. And this is very important point to note. Pula Steel would have never gone into liquidation because our shareholders agreement says if any of our shareholder liquidates, he is to sell his shares first to the other 3 shareholders. We have the right. But when I used that right to buy the shares, Nigel Warren Dixon refused to sell me those shares. He did not say that I am refusing to give you those shares. I made an offer and that offer was never returned that no, you can buy those shares. Whereby he's supposed to sell those assets to Werma's. This is as per our shareholders agreement clearly stipulated. Now, in this time, while we were into judicial management, Pula Steel was in which SIDA was only 5% shareholder. I asked, and Pula Steel was valued by, we were 5 shareholders, Pula Steel was going into judicial management, but before that, this offer was there and we asked, can we buy you? Nigel Warren Dixon said, yes, we can sell the shares, but he never came back to us on how much and exact value. We pursued that again. In the meantime, obviously, there was a company in Silvi Piqui called Jumbo Warehouse. They attached our property of Pula Steel and they liquidated they sold our trucks to them. So, in this time, finance manager was appointed to Pula Steel, which was a company called Grant Thornton. And how Grant Thornton was appointed as finance management company till date is a mystery. Because if we have to appoint Grant Thornton, the procedure says that they must advertise and then SIDA is not hiring Grant Thornton. they are being hired by Pula Steel. The fee has to be paid by Pula Steel. So other shareholders of Pula Steel must evaluate the capability of that company. There was no evaluation, no meeting was done. The same thing, all we were told was in somewhere in December that Grant Thornton is being appointed as the finance management company. And this was the condition to put the second money back by SIDA. SIDA wanted to invest now into Pula Steel, and 28 million was approved by SIDA, in which in the equal ratio was the investor money that has to come in, shareholders. Some money was 2.3 million was supposed to come from Werma's, 1 point some million was supposed to come from and others, and wealth generation was supposed to pay some money. Our share, if we had input that money, was going to go to 28 or 29%. And Pula Steel's shares and SIDA's shares was coming to about 50 some percent, and wealth generation was going a bit higher and stuff like that. I don't remember exact number. When in this time now the drag started happening. December, holiday came, January 2017, Pula Steel was, Jumbo did this attachment of the property. I remember I was sitting in December with Vijay at Grant Thornton that you must do something to stop. Even if you can use your own goodwill, because you run so many people's accounts, can you stop this? Tell him not to do that. He didn't intervene. He says, I'm not officially appointed, what. I said, but you are a finance manager. You can say that. No, nothing happened. In February 17th, SIDA moved an application that yes, you know, we can't protect the assets of Pula Steel like that. Like what happened with Jumbo, other people will also, creditors will also pounce on Pula Steel. Let's put the company into judicial management. We said, okay, fine, let's put the company into judicial management. Now, in this time of putting the company into judicial management, the company was valued by SIDA, and it was brought down from 150 million or whatever to 5 point some million, and the valuation of the company. And we asked, how did you do, or why did you bring, did you use any, there is no business value here on stock exchange or anywhere. Who did the valuation of the company? SIDA said, we did the valuation of the company. That's fine, if you did the valuation of the company, you say it's 5 million, then shares, all, now there were parallel discussions going on, and we spoke to, but the company was put in judicial management process. The moment Vijay was appointed as a judicial manager, which we also endorsed at that time in the meeting, because we were outvoted, he first and foremost, he came and he fired my father. And he created a judicial management team in which he included me. Now, my question here is, first, how did Vijay become the finance manager? And you must check the records of SIDA. In 2016, how many tenders were given to Grant Thornton by SIDA? That is what is the point. And all of a sudden, Vijay becomes Grant Thornton becomes the judicial manager. That, there is nothing about it. No discussion, no, the audit must be done. Next point is, now Vijay started playing. He is using taxman's money. He has put a fee of 1.7 million for charging from February 2017 as a judicial manager till the judicial management period. It's not top of my head. But in that period, he has visited 3 times to Silvi Piquet. I need to get a look for a job like that. For 3 times visit in Silvi Piquet, you get 1.7 million. That is what he has filed the bill. And number 2 is, he said, I have done a lot of work while I was here, and we had 4 thefts there. When a plant is running, there are people around. There is a certain insurance value. When the plant is closed, the first and the foremost thing, the thumb rule says that judicial management must increase the insurance value. Everything has to be evaluated by a third party. So I challenge judicial manager, and I went and I even went to say in the court. I had several emails written to the master of the court in copy, and I've said, please, you must look into it. Judicial manager is being unreasonable. Judicial manager had a problem with us. The problem was this: he wanted us to invest the money without giving us the projections. And this is first time to see where CEDA was ready to input the money without the projections. They were saying that invest 28 million. We know we will need more money for Pula Steel to run, but it cannot. But we can't tell you that money now. So we will go back to the shareholders back again later. So we then said, why don't you have this problem? Why don't you ask the provision? Because Nigel Warren Dixon has to put no money in the business. He is already under provisional liquidation. Why don't let him sell his shares to us and we can go ahead. And if CEDA is not, and CEDA was adamant that we don't want to work with Wermas. So I offered CEDA, you are holding 5%, let me pay you your money. They said, why should we sell you our shares? I said, I am ready to work with you. You are not ready to work with me. So the only way is you exit. I am ready to work with you. You are not ready to work with me. So either you buy me or I buy you. But you are not ready to work with me. So let me buy you. That is what logic says. So he said, okay, you can buy us. I said, give your valuation. He gave his valuation for that was made for 5% at 2.5 million. For 5% shares, his value was, I think, what, 150,000 or something like that. And I told him.
Sorry to draw you back. You wrote to the master at some stage. Did you get the response?
From master?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Up to now?
No responses.
Thank you.
In that. Yeah. Master just said, maybe one response I might have got, that talk to the judicial manager. That's it. Nothing more than that. So I informed that I'm ready to buy the shares, and I have offered. So then Thabo said we will use in their terminology called DCF formula. So I told him, I said, Thabo, when it comes to valuation of the company, you are using the net value, net asset value, NAV formula, where you are taking from liabilities, you are taking off from the assets, you are taking off the liabilities, and you have made the net asset value of the company to 2.5 million, 3 million, or 5 million, whatever, for BCL shares. But when I want to buy your share, you want to use the discount, some formula, it's called discount. C stands for what? Formula. And in which you work on projections, that this company will run this much in next 5 years, will make this much money. Now you use discount formula. So which means you want me to value you at 10 million and give you. And when you have to buy us, you will use net asset value. This is not seen that when you buy apples, when we buy oranges. It doesn't work like that. So, and this is all minuted. This is all minuted. I had to walk out of that meeting, and for which he said that it's fine, we don't have a problem. During this process, judicial manager filed the company value, declined the value of the company to the master even more, to negative. Now there was a problem because he's reducing the value of the company to the negative. So which means anybody of us who can go and pay 1 Pula to Pula Steel for his share value can take over the company. And we were not ready for that. So we said, okay, fine, if you valued it, fine, then we buy everybody. No problem. And I offered Nigel Warren Dixon 200,000 for his entire share, and it went in writing. Nigel Warren Dixon told me that I still have to wait for other shareholders. I asked him, is there a timeline? He says the agreement doesn't say stipulates any timeline. I said, but you have to give a timeline to a third person. I can't be waiting forever. What it shows very clearly that when Pula Steel was not into liquidation, when it could be sold off, Nigel did not act in the best interest of the government by taking that money, because he was not going to put, he had to sell his shares anyways, taking that money and giving back to his creditor. He rather dragged the company into liquidation. There was no way the company could be liquidated, because we had already offered them that whether this company gets liquidated, let Werma suffer. You take your money and you move out, because you are the one who's valued. So they got caught up in catch-22 situation. They said that we have value, we can't challenge our own valuation, and they are saying they are ready to buy. So they dragged this procedure on and on and on until Pula Steel went into liquidation. And I had requested Master to change the judicial manager, Vijay. They never changed. But then when I brought in an application to court, the same day, liquidator of Nigel Warren Dixon brought the thing to court that we, as a major creditor, he wants to liquidate the company because Pula Steel is insolvent, they don't have money. So then the judge said, Mr. Werma, if you want to argue, you can argue and you want to litigate, but I am dismissing your application because when I am liquidating the company, as the major creditor has brought, automatically judicial manager falls off. So yes, I didn't want to spend money. My application was dismissed and Vijay was removed automatically because company went into liquidation. But the problem here that where I come from and I say is, why did you allow the company to go into liquidation when you were getting the money yourself? You could cash the money on the valuation that you brought in. And if you were not happy with the valuation first, why you allowed Sida or Vijay to value the company and you agreed to that? I agreed to that, I could have a commercial benefit. I'm a private individual. I can see, yes, company's value is going down. Somebody is selling me a cell phone which is 10,000 Pula at 1 Pula. Why will I not buy? This was an asset which was worth, even if I look at the fence outside Pula Steel will be more than 2 Pula, and there he's giving me company for 100,000. Why will I not buy? I will be the biggest fool on earth if I will not buy that company, right? So these guys, it was a complete chain of teamwork to make sure Pula Steel comes down. And this is the fact, and this is minuted. This is not my story. The offer has gone in physical. The dates have gone in physical. I will send you the offer copy also if you will leave your email address. No problems. Yeah, no, we will. This is what happened, and Pula Steel went down with, and today so many people are suffering. There were employees of Pula Steel, they still message me a lot of times. They are suffering, they don't have jobs or whatever. I do feel bad about it, no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, the court and the government has to take the case forward. When the thing now comes the liquidation. Pula Steel got liquidated, came Mr. John Hinchcliffe. Mr. John Hinchcliffe, he started evaluating all the things. Evaluation was happened. Liquidation, final liquidation is done. Pula Steel has got 4 potential bidders. Some newspaper wrote Meki wrote 4 potential bidders for Pula Steel are ready to invest. One of the potential bidder for that is me. I was one of those bidders. And I can say that even now that my bid was the highest. But I am an unsuccessful bidder. Why? The bidding condition is no bidder, this is first time to hear, that the tender has been adjudicated where no bidder was present in front. It is adjudicated without any bidder in front. How many bids have come through? Nobody knows. Only liquidator knows there were 4 bids. Number 3, that if at all they don't want to, I am an unsuccessful bidder. Why I am an unsuccessful bidder is not known till now to me. What criteria was allotted for me to be an unsuccessful bidder? I don't know. Did I not have the capacity? Did I not have the knowledge? Did I not have, am I not adding the value to the plant? I don't know about it. Till date, I don't know. And till date, I don't know if Meki has been given the name of the potential owner, but the name of the potential owner until 2nd of March, I have a letter from him that because I'm also a creditor at Pula Steel, that I'm a creditor, I need to know who bought the plant. And on 18th of February, the information came out that I am not the potential bidder. So I am unsuccessful. And within 7 days, the potential bidder had to deposit 30% of the money, whatever bid he did. And till date, I asked them as a creditor, if I am not an unsuccessful bidder, what is stopping to tell the public who is the bidder? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. I don't know if anybody, I think the whole press is here, if anybody knows about it till now. But to my knowledge, and they are not telling me who is the potential bidder. And I have suspect that these are the 2, I can't name them because it becomes then defamation and NDA story and stuff like that. But I do suspect that yes, one of the person in the bid behind is definitely SIDA has funded somebody. I did try to work with another potential bidder from South Africa that we can work hand in hand together, but I don't know the criteria why they have rejected my bid. I have got no clue.
Have you paid the
300,000, my deposit, yes.
from the liquidator or from the bidder? Who paid the 30%?
No, first condition of the bid was I can only bid if I put 300,000 as deposit. I put that deposit. My company was Wealth Key Trading in South Africa. After I put that deposit, after that I have asked them, they sent an email to me that you are an unsuccessful bidder. So whatever I can do with that money, you can do that money. And then after that, now I ask them, okay, I'm a creditor also, can you tell me who is the bidder? How did you adjudicate? Who adjudicated it? Which was an external party? Did you even bring one external government employee master who sat in the adjudication? Nothing. There is no information about it. They don't want to tell anything. This is first time to see any tender that has gone through like that, and there are no questions asked to anybody about it. And the person who is earning the commission on that is a South African company, WH Auctioneers. It's based in Midrand in South Africa. So what is it going on? Who's making the money?
So nobody knows what the tendering process is like?
No, the tendering process, yes, nobody knows the tendering process. They only know that the bidder must put the deposit and put a tender, the document, that he has XYZ, bid your value, and whether you have capacity, give your financial resource, and whom are you going to partner with, where you're going to raise the money. I gave everything to them, and every bidder was supposed to do that. But the question is, when every bidder bid and they opened the documents, they didn't open the bids in front of this is what I'm saying, that the question is how people or how the foreign investor is being treated when they want. And somewhere from the grapevine, this is purely from the grapevine, I've heard a lot that they have been told, do anything, the tender mustn't go to Werma's. And one thing I can show, I will not disclose the bid amount of mine, but I can, if my bid is opened in front of everybody and other bidders. First of all, I suspect there were only 2 bidders. There were not 4 bidders. This is my suspicion. And it could be, I could be wrong on that. But liquidator says there were 4 bidders. Let's go with him. Why did he not open the bid in front of the 4 bidders?
What was the reserve value?
There was no reserve value. There was no reserve value. But let me even tell you that I can give you an indication that my bid was very handsome. That I can tell you. Not handsome, very handsome. It was not something that somebody had bid that it is $500,000, the valuation of the company is this or something like that. Yes. And I'm telling you very openly, I can't give the number because I'm bound with an NDA, but I can, if all those 4 papers are opened up in front of people, public, my bid will be the highest. Not even 1 Pula extra the other bidder must have paid. And I personally feel I'm the most suited bidder because I don't have to invest money. Because my agreement with Lancashire Steel is to bring 3,000 tons of scrap into, that is what my synergy was, that I was syncing these 2 projects together. What is made by Pula Steel is needed by Lancashire, and what Lancashire would make would be marketed under brand Pula Steel, right? So which means the billets that Pula Steel was making, 3,000 tons will be consumed every month only into Lancashire Steel. So there was a given market. Pula Steel doesn't even have to go and look for a market because the number says, and if proven on, and you can bring it on, I don't say bring any economist in Botswana, and I will write the numbers on the paper in front of him. Does that not make sense, or does that not make possibility? Because I got the tender, I've got Lancashire Steel, the value addition, I can make in Lancashire Steel from billets to round bar, to galvanized wire, to diamond mesh, to weld span, to barbed wire. So standards, droppers, everything was in. And the whole billet was going in there. And with the condition from government of Zimbabwe that minimum 3,000 tons of scrap will be fed to Pula Steel. So it was a win-win situation. I get 3,000 tons from Zimbabwe as scrap, and I get another 2,000 tons in Botswana. So 5,000 tons of feedstock in Pula Steel. We were looking at a gross GP of 42% only at 3,000 tons. Whatever money I was going to make was 2 times more. If my number is right, the way I'm saying, and if I dare any economist to challenge it, I was going to make 12 million Pula a month. A month. In 5 years.
And create how many jobs?
And create over 1,000 jobs in both the countries.
In the whole 5 years of the year?
Oh, no. 5-year program, I'm just talking first year.
Okay.
First year, I was going to create 1,000 jobs in both the countries. South Africa and, Botswana and Zimbabwe at the same time. But the sad story is this, that there are certain bureaucrats or certain people who are giving wrong information. They have not even telling the fact. All they have told their seniors is that we tried to do a deal with Mr. Werma and the deal did not go through. No, they never said that Mr. Werma was ready to buy all of us at the value we asked for, which we valued, and there is no detail about it. And any questions, I think you guys can ask me. I can take your water. You can post.
May I just ask one or two questions?
Sure, go ahead. One by one, you can start. You want to start from there, it's fine? With everybody? Why don't you allow him? I think he was in a rush.
Oh. Mr. Karo, maybe you want to ask first since you over someone. Can I give you something?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, go ahead.
So, why didn't you learn Setswana in all the time that you were here? Let me just ask all of them, and then maybe you can respond. Until what grade were you in school? I suppose you'll share all the documents, especially about the figures.
Yes.
Yep. And I'd like to know who specifically said we shouldn't talk to journalists.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And did you say there was some wrong enveloping going around